Hi everybody, Gary Lamassa here. In this video, we're reviewing how to configure alerts with Pluribus UNUM. Before we can configure an alert in UNUM, first we need to do a couple of things to set up. One, make sure you have the license. If you do have a license, which is an add-on, you can just click on the gear button here and select license to apply it. The next is we need to set up alerts. To do that, I click on the alerts drop-down menu and then the alerts link. Go to settings. And you need to do two things. One, set your time zone. As you can see, I've got US Pacific here. And two, you need to associate an email account. Here I've just got unum.training@gmail.com. This could be a corporate account as well. Now you also have the option to set up for webhooks. I don't have the ability to do a webhooks demo at the moment, but we'll do that at some point in the future. Now the next part of setup is configuring the index patterns. All an index is really, think of it as like an old-fashioned database where UNUM stores related bits of information. Here I have them all listed, as well as how often information is recorded. Default to 60 seconds. I've listed things that might be different in some cases. Now, as you can probably guess, if you're going to be setting up an alert based on syslogs, you would want to use the all syslogs index, for example. Or if you were going to try to configure something based on system stats, you would end up using the system stats index pattern. We'll take a closer look at this in a moment. Now the last thing you need to do for the setup is select index pattern and then type in all the index patterns that I had listed in the slide. As you can see, I've already done that here. And now we're ready to configure an alert. To configure an alert, you click on Schedule Alert and then click on the blue Create Alert button. However, I think it'll be more helpful if we take a look at an alert that's already been configured. So here I have one, CPU exceeds 70%. I'm going to click on the Edit button. And here we can see the information that needs to be provided. First of all, we provide some alert details. We classify it. Is this just a warning or is it really important? We give it a name, and we choose the index pattern that we just mentioned. Here, this is the CPU exceeds 70%, so this is going to come from system stats. Now you also have to enter in the index type in the time field. The good news is this is always just one option, so you can just select the one option that's provided. Now we have to set up the conditions for the alert. First we enter the rule type. There's threshold, flatline, spikes, new values, and repeated value. These are pretty self-evident. You can refer to the config guide if you need some more information, but we're going to choose threshold. We're going to cross a line. Now the next thing is we need to set the aggregation filter. How many times does this event have to occur before the alert triggers? Right now I have the count set to be greater than 1. This can vary in a production environment. You probably don't want to be notified every time something exceeds 70%. It might be 5 times or 10 times in a day, for example. It's up to you. The next option I would enter would be the query filter. Now I can have multiple versions of these to help refine my alert trigger. This one's pretty simple. I've set CPU sys from the drop-down list must be greater than or equal to 70%. Now I could say, hey, I want this to come from a specific fabric, for example, or I could ask for other information here to help refine it. I'm just going to leave this as is. And next I set the time window for this alert. I'm going to set it to be 24 hours. And next I'm going to set the schedule. It'll run every day at midnight, starting at midnight of the following day. Okay, and lastly, we need to set up the alert action. Here you can see I just provide an email address. Down below, I can set up the fields for notification. I can say, okay, which fabric, what switch, CPO total, I want to know which user it is, and I can choose some more from a drop-down menu if I need it. Okay, that's it essentially. I'm going to back out of this, and let's activate 2 demo alerts. So I've got some pre-configured here, as you can see. I've got a demo for memory exceeding, that's 10%. If I open this up, you can see that. And currently I have this one snooze, so I'm going to unsnooze it. Now I could just do this for a short period of time, or I can just turn it off forever. For now, I'll just completely turn it off. And by the way, there's other options here. If you want to clone an alert because you want to modify it, you can use this button. Or if you just want to see the alert history, how many times it's triggered, you could click here. I'll do that to show you what it looks like. And here we can see the times that this alert is triggered. Okay, so I've turned on the demo mem exceeds 10%, and I also want to turn on the demo for port down. Oh, it's already on. So let me trigger this one. I can do this pretty simply. If I go back to the dashboard and go to topology, and let me just click on the link between leaf 1 and spine 1. Okay, so let me just click on this port icon over here for leaf 1, port 13. I'm going to disable this port, save, and then I'm going to re-enable it, which should trigger our port down condition. So this will take a couple of moments because of email and the time it takes to synchronize, but I'll check back in a couple of minutes and we'll see what the alerts look like. Okay, as you can see, I've started to get some alerts. If I look at the demo port down alert email, I can see I've got a link down between spine A and leaf 1. Pretty straightforward. And if I go back on the demo memory exceeds 10%, I can see that I have multiple switches in the SRC fabric and the memory values for each one of the switches. Pretty straightforward. Now, configuring alerts is pretty simple, but there are quite a few options. So what we've done is we've included some use cases. If while you're on the Alerts Reports drop-down menu, if you click on the Help button, it'll open up a tab in the Config Guide, and you click on Use Cases as well as Supported Settings for UNUM Alerts. Here we've given 10 examples how to configure different alerts for different types of use cases. These should give you a feel for how to configure alerts within UNUM. For more information, please refer to pluribusnetworks.com and the Pluribus UNUM product page. And while you're there, check out our new Pluribus UNUM Fabric Automation Guide. Thanks for watching.